Hi everybody, I'm just gonna wait a little hot second for, there we go. TikTok is now notifying we're getting some views. Hi everybody, if you're just joining me, my name is Dr. Mary Claire Haver. I am a board certified OB-GYN physician. I also am certified in culinary medicine from Tulane University and the Goldring Center for Culinary Medicine. If you want to look up what that is, it's basically a nutritional certification for physicians, PAs, pharmacists, nurse practitioners, and registered dietitians, where we kind of marry nutritional concepts and medical issues. It's one of the best things I've ever done for myself. It's about 60 hours of graduate level coursework if any of you are healthcare providers and interested in learning more about it. Most of it is online. You do have to attend some live labs, which I did in New Orleans and San Antonio, and then sit for a board exam, which was very difficult. But that being said, welcome. If you're just joining me, I'm here today to talk about intermittent fasting and women. So I think 97% of my followers are women. All of the research and studies that I utilize when I talk about most things are done in women. So if you happen to be someone who does not fit that category, you're more than welcome to listen to this talk, but the studies that I quote are pretty much done in women or apply to women. So some of these concepts may not apply to you because women are not small men and we cannot be treated the same medically. So fasting, one of my favorite topics in the whole world. So what is fasting? What is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is simply setting the clock and having a time period where you eat and a time period where you do not eat. Those time periods, there are several methods. There's as many methods of fasting as there are stars in the sky, it seems like, but not all of them have been shown to have medical benefits. So in the Galveston diet, which is my wellness program for women, I preach a 16-8 is what we teach our students. Does everyone in our program utilize a 16-8? No. Some people have very extreme shift workers and they find that alternative methods of fasting work better for them. And we completely approve that. You're adults, you can do what you want. But the vast majority, I would say probably 97% of our students in the Galveston diet utilize the 16-8 form of intermittent fasting. So if you choose to do 16-8, you have complete flexibility over what your window is. Let's see. So and if you have any questions, guys, drop them in the Q&A. And if you're just joining, double tap the screen to like the video. Give me a bunch of likes, please, and comment as much as you like. This helps drive the algorithm and keep me relevant on this platform. If you'd like to share this video, go ahead. There's a little button right here. You can share this video with someone that you think learning more about intermittent fasting would be beneficial. Okay, if you have questions, just drop them in the Q&A box right here, the little question box. There's so many of you on right now, over 300. And my eyes are not that good. Sometimes your comments scroll by too quickly for me to get for me to see them. So most people use intermittent fasting as a way to lose weight or as a way to reduce body fat. In the Galveston diet, we recognize that intermittent fasting is only modest for weight loss. It really isn't considered to be a weight loss program because during your eating window, you can certainly sabotage the health benefits if you're not careful. That's why we also teach intermittent fasting with anti-inflammatory nutrition and what we call fuel refocusing, macronutrient tracking, so that we can hit all of our nutritional goals, and then those three work synergistically together to get you the results you want. But intermittent fasting on its own has been shown to help with heart disease, diabetes, preserve muscle mass, so big for women, and improve psychological well-being. Also, a lot of people love having that extra time during the day when they're not trying to prep and prepare a meal. Okay, so intermittent fasting may affect men and women differently. Remember, most studies to this day are done in men. And a lot of times women aren't included in the studies. Why? Because it's difficult, or there's an internal bias, something about the menstrual cycle, interfering with results and whatnot. So I don't pay attention to those studies. I only look at studies where women are involved. So if you are quoting a study to me, you better make sure there were women involved, especially women in middle age. I don't really pay attention to the studies done in 25-year-old male athletes, because those are not the patients that I am trying to help. So where did I go to school? My undergraduate degree is from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, where I have a bachelor's degree in geology. I then attended graduate school at the University of Canterbury in Christchurch, New Zealand. I attended medical school at Louisiana State University in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then I did my residency in Obstetrics and Gynecology at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, Texas, where I completed all 4 years there. Finally, I had my culinary medicine certification from Tulane University. So that's where I went to school for a very long time. Okay, health benefits of intermittent fasting for women. So, and we'll go over methods of fasting towards the end of the talk, but I really wanted to focus on the health benefits. So if you're just joining us, double tap the screen to like the video, comment, share, and if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A down below. I will get to them at the end of the talk. So heart health. Heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide, even for women, not cancer. Heart disease, high blood pressure, high LDL, high bad cholesterol, and intermittent fasting can actually lower blood pressure in women. So it lowered the blood pressure 6% after 8 weeks of intermittent fasting. The same study also found that intermittent fasting lowered LDL cholesterol, which is another risk factor for heart disease, by 25% and triglycerides by 32%. However, those studies were done in patients who were obese. When they repeated those studies in normal weight individuals, they did not see cholesterol lowering or triglyceride lowering. So if you are normal weight and suffering from elevated triglycerides and cholesterol, you may be someone who might need medications, and that dietary interventions may not work the best for you because there's something in your genetics that is really leading to this. Okay, so diabetes. Intermittent fasting may effectively manage and reduce your risk of developing diabetes. Now, who can intermittent fast and who can't? If you are having a history of an eating disorder and intermittent fasting is going to trigger this, you are not a candidate for this. There are other things you can do nutritionally to maximize your health, but intermittent fasting may not be the best for you. Number two, if you are a type 1 diabetic, nope, I don't know of a single physician who treats type 1 diabetics who would agree that intermittent fasting is something you need to consider. Certain types of type 2 diabetics and other medical conditions. So if you are seeing a doctor, under a doctor's care, if you're on medication, if you have a history of hypoglycemia, you must sustain this you must talk to your physician before considering this. But for everyone else, intermittent fasting is something that you absolutely can sustain for the rest of your life, something that humans have done for millennia, naturally, normally, because when we developed as a species, food was not available 24/7. There were not refrigerators. There was no way to store food other than if it was a nut or a grain, something that would not deteriorate on its own. There were no drive-thrus. We were not evolutionarily developed to have access to food 24/7. Our bodies were actually primed to not have food available at all times. So it's more natural actually to fast from time to time than to have food filling your body 24/7. Truth. Okay, so on a metabolic basis, when we fast, so it takes about 12 hours. What happens physiologically during fasting? It takes about 12 hours. There's someone in the comments cracking me up. Can y'all shut her down? 12 hours for your body to burn through the carbohydrates from your last meal. Glucose is the preferred fuel for the body. No one's going to argue with that. Okay, the body burns glucose first. You can't change that. So it takes about 12 hours to get through what you ate from your last meal and what's stored in the liver in the form of glycogen. Okay, after that, now that 12-hour window can be very different depending on exercise levels, genetics, age, etc. But average, just say 12 hours. then your body starts burning fat for fuel. It is a normal physiologic process. It happens in sleep all the time, okay? Your body will just shift to burning stored glucose, which is in the form of fat, for fuel. When that happens, things start changing on an epigenetic basis in our body, okay? You start turning on different genes, turning off different genes. Insulin levels decrease, blood sugars decrease. Your cells undergo just enough stress to start making physiological changes to make them more resilient to disease and injury. It's almost like working out. When we exercise just enough, when we stress our muscles out just enough, they respond by becoming hypertrophic. They gain mass, okay? When we don't do that, our muscles tend to get smaller. Now, I'm simplifying a very beautifully complex system in the human body, but fasting seems to turn on turn on genes that make us more resilient to disease. End of story. Also decreases inflammation levels. There is beautiful work done by Mark Mattson at the National Institutes of Health, and you can look up his YouTube video. No, it's a YouTube, but it's his TED Talk on intermittent fasting and neurodegenerative disease, so Alzheimer's and dementia, and how he was doing animal studies for Alzheimer's and dementia and utilized fasting as a possible way to treat, and found that not only did the cognition get better, like they were able to navigate the mazes faster, the animals, but while they were fasted, but they also had lower systemic levels of inflammation. And so it's an incredible talk. It really, really could change your mind. And I think everybody should watch it, especially if you have a family history of Alzheimer's and dementia. This could be something that you could be utilizing to hopefully decrease your risk of getting these diseases if you're genetically predispositioned to get them. And if you've watched a loved one go through Alzheimer's or dementia, I know this is something that could be incredibly motivating for you to look into. Okay, so Mark Mattson, National Institutes of Health. Okay, and intermittent fasting is free. You don't need an app. Some people do better with an app, but you don't absolutely need one. It's free. Anybody can do it who's not, absolute contraindication as the things I talked about before. Do not listen to this woman. This is not safe. Oh my God, this is so funny. Okay, this is completely safe. People fast when they're sleeping all the time and do just fine. Okay, so diabetes, how does this help? So remember, if you're a type 1 diabetes, you are not a candidate for fasting, okay? If you are a new type 2 and just getting started on medication, you're probably not. You need to talk to your doctor. However, similar to continuous calorie restriction, intermittent fasting appears to reduce the risk of some factors for diabetes. It lowers our insulin levels and it lowers our blood glucose levels, okay? And it decreases insulin resistance. So in a randomized controlled study of more than 100 overweight or obese women, 6 months of intermittent fasting reduced their insulin levels by 29% and insulin resistance by 19%. Blood sugar levels remained the same. There is a tremendous amount of science behind intermittent fasting, how it is a natural, normal part of a very good health program. Okay. Let's see. What's more, 8 to 12 weeks of intermittent fasting has been shown to lower insulin levels by 20 to 31% and blood sugar levels by 3 to 6% in individuals with prediabetes. You're usually diagnosed with prediabetes if your hemoglobin A1C is elevated but has not crossed the threshold into full diabetes. So this is something for those of you who have been diagnosed with prediabetes, you absolutely should talk to your doctor about and consider. So a small study found that blood sugar control, hang on, I need to block this person because she is losing her shit. Oh, she's probably a sham. Okay, she's only got like 278 followings. Bye, Michelle. We're going to have to block you, sweetheart. Okay, bye-bye. Confirm. Okay. She's gone. All right, so weight loss. Weight loss is modest at best for intermittent fasting. It's not really considered to be a weight loss program. If you have a large amount of weight loss to lose, intermittent fasting could be part of your efforts, but you should not rely on it at all. You can undo all of the goodness of intermittent fasting very, very quickly by you could sabotage your efforts during your eating window with the wrong choices. So, hey, bud. Oh, we got a visitor. This is Rex. Hi, buddy. There are children on this app. Sweetie, 97% of my followers are 35 plus. If there's any children watching, if you want to watch your mom talking about intermittent fasting and menopause, go get your mommy on the app. You are so crazy. Okay. All right. I got to put him down. Okay. Back to the discussion. All right. So weight loss. You do have a slightly improved weight loss along with other weight loss efforts. So I would not rely on intermittent fasting as just a weight loss program. That is really not the best way. You really need to focus on your nutrition and use intermittent fasting as part of your efforts to try and lose weight. So in the Galveston diet, which is my wellness program, you go check it out online. We're in the link in bio. Not what I'm here to talk about today, but we are more focused on lowering inflammation through nutrition, through exercise, and through lowering our cortisol levels naturally. Okay, we're talking about sleep, meditation, journaling, prayer, yoga, whatever works for you, to get those stress levels down. We use intermittent, so from a nutritional standpoint, we use intermittent fasting as one component. We use anti-inflammatory approach to nutrition, which is basically educating you on what foods are inflammatory, what foods tend to be highly inflammatory, and how to, more of this, less of those. And then we also talk about learning about macro and micronutrients, making sure we're getting enough magnesium, fiber, calcium, all the important things, and what foods are rich in that, and how to choose, how to get those isoflavones and get the polyphenols and all of the fruits and vegetables that are rich in these things. How to eat meat, if you enjoy meat, how to eat that in a healthier way, so that you don't undo some of the goodness of the things that you were doing. So, let's see. I'm sorry. Some of the comments are catching my eye. So it does aid in weight loss a little bit, but that should not be the main thing that you rely on. Okay. It may help you, other health benefits. So we talked about reduced inflammation. All right. Some studies show that intermittent fasting can reduce key markers of inflammation. We're talking about C-reactive protein, biological markers of inflammation when we do blood tests. You can improve psychological well-being. One study found that 8 weeks of intermittent fasting decreased depression in women and binge eating behaviors while improving body image in obese adults. Again, when not triggering otherwise eating disorders, okay? If you have an eating disorder that will be triggered by intermittent fasting, this is not for you. This is absolutely not for you. You should be working hand in hand with a psychologist and a registered dietitian, both with expertise in this area, okay? That is not me. So increased longevity. So animal models are showing when the daily intermittent fast is utilized, these animals are living longer with a better quality of life. Human studies, we haven't been studying intermittent fasting long enough. We have lifespans 70, 80, 90 years. It takes time to get that data. However, animals have very small lifespans, but without a doubt, increased longevity, not only living longer, but living better longer, okay, without some of the health, who wants to live to 100 if you're like stuck in a bed and demented? Not me. I want to be climbing a mountain at 80. I want to be playing with my grandkids. I want to be running around. I want to be healthy. So, and then preserving muscle mass. And this hits home for me because I am sarcopenic. I have an in-body scanner that I use for my patients. I jump on it myself, and I need to gain 10 pounds of muscle to be in my best health. I've always had low muscle mass. So it is really up to me to focus on making sure I'm doing resistance training regularly and eating enough protein so that I can hang on to the muscle I have and hopefully build some to be as healthy as possible. Intermittent fasting appears to adjust some of your hormone levels that will promote muscle mass retention over calorie restriction. Did you know that, the most popular form of dieting is calories in, calories out, right? In calorie restriction, when you lose weight, 50% of what you lose tends to be, muscle. So you lose fat, but half of what you're losing is muscle. And that puts you in that negative feedback cycle, because muscle mass is what determines your basal metabolic rate, which is where you burn calories at rest. So for myself, I do resistance training or HIIT about 3 days a week, and cardio about 2 days a week. I was doing a core workout today and I blew my knee out. I don't know what the hell. I was jumping. It's one of those jumping things. And my knee started hurting. And I was like, oh God. So I made it about 15 minutes through and I had to stop because I have to listen to my body. So I tweaked something in my knee. It feels better right now. So yeah, I have few apps that I subscribe to. You know, I do the yearly, so it's cheaper. And so I work out with guided through apps. I live in a small town. There's a couple of gyms here, but it's just easier for me. And over the 25 years of marriage with my husband, we've just gifted each other with workout equipment for 25 years. So we have a fairly nice gym that we've been able to build in our house. All right, so I'm going to get to the questions now. I see one right now. What is the best way to reduce inflammation? You suffer from severe osteoarthritis. One of the best websites that I've ever seen, like for the public, besides, medical studies, that discusses this in detail is arthritis.org. They go on and on and on about nutritional things and exercise things that you can do to decrease the inflammation and osteoarthritis. So if this is something that you're suffering from, go visit arthritis.com. They have beautiful information and all evidence-based, and that you can really change your life. Some simple nutritional tweaks that may severely, impact your life in a positive way. Let's see. It's just not normal to sustain for life. Michelle Smith. Michelle, I had to block. She was very vocal about this topic. Intermittent fasting has been shown to be healthful, safe, efficacious, and has massive medical benefits in the vast majority of people. But sister, you don't have to do it. If you don't want to practice intermittent fasting, you're going to miss out on the health benefits, but you do you, okay? I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. People come to me for nutritional and medical advice, and that is what I'm giving. If you don't agree with me, that is your right. You do not have to practice intermittent fasting. Go eat 24 hours a day, but likely you're going to not be as healthy as someone who practices intermittent fasting. Let's see. I see a lot of questions about thyroid disease and being told that they can't fast. I haven't seen, if you have any evidence in the contrary, please tag me in it, send me an email at Mary Claire. If you go to the link in bio, there's a link that you can, success@galvestondiet.com. But I haven't seen any compelling evidence that for women in midlife and 10% of us have thyroid disease, by the way, that intermittent fasting is not anything but beneficial and helpful. If you have evidence, medical, research studies, randomized controlled trials to the contrary, please send them to me so I can correct myself. But to my knowledge, and I've looked at this, I have not seen any compelling evidence to dissuade every single woman with thyroid disease away from intermittent fasting. I can tell you, we have almost 70,000 students enrolled in the Galveston Diet, doing the program. And so 10% of them, so it's about 7,000 have thyroid disease. They're doing great, guys. So, again, unless your doctor explicitly says you cannot fast, I would consider it. 16 hours fast, 8 hours eat. That is what we teach in the Galveston Diet, and that is what I personally practice. I'm fasting right now. It is 10:46. I will probably break my fast 11:30 or so. We have a big day. It's Mardi Gras here in Galveston. My daughter, we have a thing tonight and a ball tomorrow night. She is a duchess. She wears the big dress and will walk across the stage and be presented. I can't believe she's 21. But so I have to get ready for all of that. So I'll probably break my fast a little earlier. It's going to be a long night. So, but typically I break my fast around noon and I'm done eating by 8 p.m. So let's see. If you have questions, drop them in the question box. I started 2 weeks ago and you have headaches. So in the Galveston Diet, we teach our students to ease into it, okay? It took me 6 weeks to become fasting adapted. First 2 weeks I spent learning how to love and drink black coffee, okay? I was that girl who was like, no way, Jose. I am never going to have black coffee. I want my coffee the way I want it, and you are not taking it away from me ever. Till I read all the studies. And then I was like, oh shit. And I realized what my equal was actually doing to me, doing to my gut, doing to the microbiome, and doing to my inflammation levels. So armed with science, I was able to learn how to drink. Now, there's some tricks for black coffee. If you guys are like, I can't do it, it's too bitter, invest in high quality coffee. It's worth it. Try a little in your grounds, put a little sprinkle of sea salt or just salt, whatever. Sea salt sounds fancier, or a pink Himalayan if you're going to be really fancy. Absolutely no difference than regular salt, but and some cinnamon grounds. That will cut the bitterness and make it much more tolerable. Then I slowly decreased the amount of milk. I was a milk and equal person in my coffee until I could do it black, and that took 2 weeks. Then I started pushing out my eating window by 15 minutes. And this is what I teach in the program, and so I if I was eating at 6:30 was my normal time, I pushed it to 6:45. That was pretty easy. I did that for 2 or 3 days. And then I pushed to 7. Okay. That was a little bit harder. And so I did that for 4 or 5 days until it felt natural, normal, no big deal. Then 7:15. And I just repeated this process over 3 and 4 day increments for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I can remember sitting at my desk at the hospital when I was still doing regular OB-GYN, teaching residents and stuff, and getting to noon and going, oh, I did it. I'm an intermittent faster. And it was almost 6 weeks after I'd started the process. But by giving myself the gift of time, I became fast adapted. I didn't have headaches. I didn't have hypoglycemia. I was never nauseated. I was still working out in the morning. It was no big deal. But again, everybody's like crazy, wants to like get it perfect on the first go run. They start trying to hit that 16 hour in the first week. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Give yourself the gift of time and patience, and intermittent fasting will go much easier for you and be something that you can sustain for the long term. So the students in the Galveston diet repeatedly tell me, this is anecdotal, hey, this was the thing I was scared about. I didn't want to give up my coffee. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. I love my breakfast. And they're like, for those who fast in the morning, not everybody fasts in the morning. They find a window that works for them. The majority of people do the morning, but I have people who eat in the morning and fast in the evening, and it makes more sense to them. So you get to pick the window that's flexible for you. Absolutely. You do you. And the only program that's going to work is the one that's going to work. And now, 4 or 5 years into this, black coffee, I never miss having things in my coffee, ever. Okay. I'm going to go back to the questions. So yes, I do a 16-8. Okay. Hang on. I'm clicking on questions. A 20 and 4. Everybody is different. It's hard to kind of blanket give rules for everyone, but some people, and the longer you fast, the more likely this is going to happen. You will kind of get out of the benefit phase and get into the starvation phase, and your body will start breaking down muscle for fuel. And that is not what you want. So it seems like there's something magical about the 16-8 where you kind of maximize your benefits. Have I ever done a 24? Of course. I worked on call. I'm a doctor. I deliver babies in the middle of the night. There were multiple times where I would go 20 hours because I had no option. I'm sure in your life, you've had days where you were sick or whatever. I mean, it happens from time to time, but that was never my goal. Never my goal, because I was worried. I cannot lose any more muscle than what I have right now. I am sarcopenic. I'm a little skinny armed and leg person, and all my weight is in my midsection. And so, hey, buddy. He wants to come play again. He just loves, say hi. Say hi. He's my rescue Chiweenie. Okay, so not every day. And it becomes, for a lot of people, to hit your nutrition goals, to make sure you get enough calories to sustain homeostasis, to make sure you're getting enough nutrients to support optimal function in your body. The tighter that window is, the harder it is, okay? So be careful. I'm not saying you can't do it, but you may risk starvation and you may risk not hitting your nutritional goals. So it's not something I recommend around the time. Terry Stint. I like Dr. Simpson. He's a sweetheart. Thank you. He's got some good stuff. I'm a fan. Do we 100% agree with everything? No, we're human beings. Monk fruit and coffee. So in the Galveston diet, we talk about monk fruit and stevia quite a bit. Natural sweeteners do not have the inflammatory profile that stevia, no, I mean that aspartame and some of the chemical sweeteners do. So, however, we don't utilize them while we're fasting. Why? Because they do stimulate the sweet receptors on the tongue, which causes a compensatory rise in insulin because the body thinks, oh, sweet is coming, let's get ready for it. So sugar is coming, let's get ready for it. And so because of that, we don't want to undermine our decreased insulin levels and the positivity from that, and decreased inflammation from that. So we use monk fruit and stevia after we break our fast. Let's see. You drink black Turkish coffee, good for you. Same, started fasting 2 weeks ago, 16-8, 3 days of headaches. Push your window, go back, start over, and go much, much, much slowly. The studies is showing that the 16-8 does affect fasting glucose levels, fasting insulin levels, and versus not fasting. So you eat the same amount, and then these people fast and these people don't. And so we see lower insulin resistance and lower insulin levels and 2 to 3% lower glucose levels in people who practice fasting. Struggling tips for PCOS. You fast and you work out right now. Both really, really helpful for you with polycystic ovarian syndrome. The next thing to look at is the quality of your nutrition. Galveston Prime is a program that was developed under my supervision, but by my daughter, who is 21 and she's a nutrition science major, and by Ashley Simon, who is a double degree in biology. She's actually in PA school right now. She used to help run the Galveston Diet. She is now advancing her degree, and we're super proud of her. So they developed Galveston Prime. It's on our website. It is for younger patients not dealing with perimenopause and menopause. So the program, if you want to go check it out, it's there. You just scroll to the bottom. There's a link at the bottom. Let's see. All right, guys, I need to go get ready for Mardi Gras. It's time to color my hair. I've been waiting till the last possible second so the dye lasts the longest. So fun talking to you guys. Hopefully you learned something. As always, give me a couple taps to know that you like this video. Everybody tap, tap, tap. You can power tap. Like if you just keep tapping, a big heart pops up under my name and it'll slide across the screen. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the follows. I really appreciate all of the good vibes. And if you want to learn more about our program, link is in the bio. We have lots of free resources, guys, tons of information available to you. I want everyone to live their healthiest life, have the most positive gynecologic experience possible, and live long and live well. All right, guys, have a fabulous day, and we will chat again soon. Oh, God, we're up to 10,000 likes. That was amazing. Thanks, everybody.